A maintenance crew was preparing to reinstall a large pipe elbow over the opening at a reactor vessel at a Delaware oil refinery in November 2005. Workers had previously wrapped red tape around the steel bolts surrounding the reactor opening and covered it with plywood and plastic. They had also attached a danger, confined space, do not enter without permit sign. Nitrogen flowed into the reactor and exited from the covered opening. Nitrogen is invisible, but is colored light green here for illustration. However, there was no specific warning posted about the oxygen-deficient atmosphere caused by the nitrogen. After workers removed the plywood cover, a roll of duct tape, lying 5 feet down inside the reactor, was discovered. The crew knew they would not be allowed to reinstall the elbow until the tape was removed. They also knew that entering the reactor to remove the tape would require a specially trained and equipped crew and a confined space entry permit, which would take many hours. To avoid the long delay, one worker stood near the opening with a long, flexible wire and made several unsuccessful attempts to hook the tape. Investigators believe that the worker either lowered himself into the reactor to quickly grab the tape, relying on his foreman to insert a ladder so he could climb back out, or leaned over the opening and accidentally slipped into the reactor, or breathed in the oxygen-deficient atmosphere just above the opening. In either scenario, the inhalation of the nearly pure nitrogen caused the worker to quickly lose consciousness and collapse. The foreman and contract administrator saw the stricken worker lying unconscious inside the reactor. The tragedy escalated when the foreman inserted the ladder into the reactor and climbed down without a respirator to rescue his coworker. He, too, collapsed from the lack of oxygen. The contract administrator then declared an emergency on his radio. Emergency responders wearing supplied air-breathing equipment entered the reactor a short time later and removed the 2 men using a hoist, but attempts to revive them were unsuccessful. The atmosphere on a handheld meter showed less than 1% oxygen, a lethal atmosphere. An oxygen-deficient atmosphere is just one serious hazard posed by confined spaces. Like the men in this actual incident, you may be tempted to think you can quickly get in and out of a confined space to accomplish a simple task, but that misconception could prove fatal. Never enter a confined space without proper authorization, training, and equipment.